New Zealand lamb, ginger ale, cranberries, panko breadcrumbs, Dijon, and a Thai chili. How are we going to work all these together in a dish? Stick around and find out. Okay guys, so thanks for visiting the channel. Midnight Range TM here. Tonight we're going to be doing a Dijon and panko encrusted New Zealand rack of lamb. We're going to serve that with a cranberry, ginger ale, marmalade, with a little bit of spice. We're going to add a little bit of Thai chili in there, so that'll be really cool. You know, the first thing to do is super simple. We're actually just going to take a small heavy bottom pot. We're going to add 1 pound of craisins. I'm sorry, 1 cup of craisins, 4 cups of ginger ale, and we're going to add 1 Thai chili. To give it some spice. And we're not scared, we're going to add the seeds right in there too. And as simple as that, what we're going to do is put that on the stove on a medium flame and let's let it cook down, reduce, and let those dried cranberries absorb a lot of that liquid. Next thing we're going to do is break down, clean this rack of lamb, get it marinated and wrapped up, and we'll let that sit overnight. Then we're going to protect the bones a little bit so we can sear it and roast it in the oven. We're going to rub it with a little Dijon mustard and do a panko crust. So this is a New Zealand lamb. It's a nice size for entrees. It's a good portion. Usually you see 10 to 14 ounces. You also can get a Colorado lamb, which tends to be a bigger eye. Talking about the eye here. And you can also see Australian, which tends to be a little bit smaller. They do come Frenched a lot of times. Frenching is the term where the bones are already cleaned off. You literally can just take this, season it, and grill it, roast it in the oven, do whatever. But I like to take this fat cap off here a little bit too. So the bones run back down in. That's the end of the bone right there. So we're just going to run the knife along the bones. And we're going to peel that fat cap right off. Really simple. And discard that. Okay. And then we're going to take the silver skin off the back too. Just going to run a knife under that. The silver skin is just kind of some sinew that tends to run between muscles. It's going to be chewy. It's going to be stringy. You're never going to be able to get rid of it as far as cooking it. It doesn't matter how long you cook it. It's always going to be there. I'm trying to go kind of slow so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm just following this down. Until I get that off. And I'm left with just one solid muscle ready to go. Now, one thing I did mention was protecting the bones while cooking, especially if you're grilling it on high heat. And then finish it in the oven. If you get these too direct in heat, the bones will literally just burn and become so brittle they'll just crumble. And that's a shame because you love those for presentation. So the easiest thing to do is just get some foil, just regular aluminum foil, lay it down, wrap it over the top, wrap that side, and wrap that side. Okay? Easy, right? No big deal. Next thing we're going to do is to marinate these. I really do like to use plastic wrap. It works really good. It holds all the marinade in there. You'll use less marinade for the amount too, because it's not going to run all over a pan. And this marinade I will put a recipe for in the comment section, or in the description. It's a marinade that I've used before with beef. I use it with lamb, and it's a burgundy, just regular burgundy wine, something a little sweeter. I like that sweeter wine. Ginger, garlic, chili flake, salt, pepper, and thyme. It's going to turn out really salty, and that's so you don't really have to season the meat before you cook it. So it's one and done. I'm going to wrap it up. I always like to wrap it with the seam up, and then I'll let it marinate like this with the cut side or the trimmed side, peeled side down, and it sits in that marinade. When we come back, we'll sear it, throw the crust on it. Alright, so really simply, we're just going to sear this in a pan. The restaurant I use primarily aluminum, but you can use anything to sear it. We're just going to add a little bit of oil. And you can see the lamb has taken on, this is one that I had marinated. We ran it as a special this week, but it takes on that purple kind of color. You can see the chili flakes and the garlic and ginger. We're just going to give it a light sear, nothing too crazy. Lamb is not a large cut. The rack is not a large cut, so you really don't want to over-sear it. Sear it on the front, sear it on the back. And then what we're going to do is we're going to rub this with a little Dijon and crust it in buttered panko. Okay, lamb's got a nice sear on it. Nothing too harsh, but nice brown. But we're going to throw the panko crust together here. So, panko. Panko is a Japanese breadcrumb. If you buy it, you can actually tell there's two different kinds really. There's some that's really light and fluffy, and there's some that's a little more granular. I prefer the stuff that's really light and fluffy, and you can feel it in the bag that it's real light and fluffy. Those are the ones I like. This actually in blue says joingunchannels.com and check out gear websites for free patch Fridays. That's what that says. That's really cool. Ghost Tactical's wife is Japanese. She'll confirm that, I'm sure. So just want to have to open these up. And again, see, it's like real nice and light, untoasted. I'm going to take that and take a little bit of melted whole butter. Pankos are really cool, but one of the things you have to be careful of is if you crust something in it, it works better with a fat involved. Either as a deep fried object, you deep fry it, obviously the fat's involved. If you crust something in it, sometimes the breadcrumbs brown better if they have a little bit of butter added to them. Really nice. So add that. This is a little bit of fresh thyme and chopped fresh parsley. And we're going to lay some of that out. On a tray. Now, for the lamb, really, really easy. We're actually going to take a little straight Grey Poupon Dijon mustard. The lamb has come down to room temperature now. I wouldn't do it cold because by the time you get the lamb heated up, you could over brown the panko. You could get away with it, but it's going to be much easier probably for you to do like this. Okay. Okay. And we're just going to kind of press it into the panko. Nice. A nice thick layer, whatever will stick. You can do these ahead of time, but if you wrap them up tightly, the pressure will actually kind of compact the breadcrumb and you'll lose a lot of that fluffiness. So you know, you can do them ahead of time. Just leave them open to the air in the fridge if you have to, or on the countertop, you know, for a couple of minutes. You know, it's not going to hurt to leave it out for a little bit. And we're going to throw this bad boy straight in the oven. We're going to do 400 degrees, and you know, this would be a good time for you to get your thermometer out for your doneness. If you're looking at like 125-ish for rare, up into the 150s for medium, and if you want them well done, you know, and up into the 155, 160 range. I'm shooting for a mid-rare. I think lamb's great mid-rare. Lamb's one of my favorite things. I really love the gaminess of it. If you like venison, if you like elk, if you like bison, you'll like lamb. Especially these New Zealand, they have a great flavor. So we're gonna fire this guy in the oven, come back and check it out. Okay guys, we've got the lamb out of the oven. Ready to cut it up here. We've let it rest for about 5 minutes. We're gonna take the foil off. And you'll see that keeps the bones nice and white, nice and clean. They look really good for presentation. One of the things that people automatically like to do when they cut lamb, if they don't know, they'll try and cut with the bone. Like see if I can show this. Like perfectly parallel with the bones. And you actually want to cut a little bit to one side. And you'll feel it as the knife goes down through. It'll just, this first bone will kind of guide the knife. Okay. Now, one of my guys must have yanked my thermometer, so I actually didn't have a thermometer, so I just went kind of by feel. So we'll see how it turns out. I feel it might be a touch over. I'm going to be serving this with a white miso roasted red bliss potato. It's one of our things that we do, that I like to do. It's kind of fun. It's a red bliss potato that's just boiled till it's fork tender, and then tossed in a white miso, melted butter, and roasted in the oven. It's really, really nice. It gives it a really good earthy, fun kind of flavor. And no, I don't have a recipe for those. I just do them. We're gonna line this lamb up around the outside. Yeah, we're at about medium. It's a little over what I would have liked. Yeah. The cranberry marmalade came down awesome. I let it cool down a little bit. You see it's got this like really rich, deep purple kind of color to it. And I tasted it. It's a little spicy. I probably could have used about half the amount of chilies. Unless you really like heat. I would tone it back a little bit, but we're gonna just hit around the plate with some of that. And as always, don't forget, ladies love that green stuff. Make it look pretty. And we're coming up on Christmas, so might as well make it Christmassy, right? Do a little extra green stuff and a little bit of red stuff. So, thanks for visiting the channel, Midnight Range TM. Check us out for live streams on Sunday, 10:30 Eastern for the closer. And gunchannels.com, Gunstreamer, GunTube, and Instagram. Merry Christmas. Have a safe holidays.